Welcome, my friends, to a place where we share inspiration and positivity. Hello, YouTube friends. Join us as we unravel the mysteries surrounding doppelganger. A doppelganger, sometimes spelled as doppelganger or doppelganger, is a biologically unrelated look-alike, or a double, of a living person. In fiction and mythology, a doppelganger is often portrayed as a ghostly or paranormal phenomenon and usually seen as a harbinger of bad luck. Other traditions and stories equate a doppelganger with an evil twin. In modern times, the term twin stranger is occasionally used. Without further ado, let's move on to the topic of spelling. The word doppelganger is a loanword from the German noun doppelganger, literally meaning double walker. The singular and plural forms are the same in German, but English writers usually prefer the plural doppelgangers. In German, there is also a female form, doppelgängerin plural, doppelgängerinnen. The first known use, in the slightly different form doppelganger, occurs in the novel Siebings 1796 by Jean Paul, in which he explains his newly coined word in a footnote. The word also appears in the novel, but with a different meaning. In German, the word is written as is usual with German nouns with an initial capital letter. In English, the word is generally written with a lowercase letter, and the umlaut on the letter is usually dropped, doppelganger. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of mythology and folklore and their profound significance. English speakers have only recently applied this German word to a paranormal concept. Francis Grove's Provincial Glossary of 1787 used the term fetch instead, defined as the apparition of a person living. Catherine Crowe's book on paranormal phenomena, The Night Side of Nature 1848, helped make the German word well known. The concept of alter egos and double spirits has appeared in the folklore, myths, religious concepts, and traditions of many cultures throughout human history. In ancient Egyptian mythology, a ka was a tangible spirit double having the same memories and feelings as the person to whom the counterpart belongs. The Greek princess presents an Egyptian view of the Trojan War in which a ka of Helen misleads Paris, helping to stop the war. This mimic sense also appears in Euripides' play Helen, and in Norse mythology, a vardiger is a ghostly double who is seen performing the person's actions in advance. In Finnish mythology, this pattern is described as having an etiainen, a firstcomer. Many majority Muslim countries have the concept of a Karen or Krin, which is a potentially benevolent or harmful spirit double of the same sex, race, and parallel temperament as the person it's connected to. It bears children which are the spirit doubles of the person's children. In some places the Karen is the opposite sex of the person it represents. When malicious, it often tries to persuade the person it's connected to into following their bad whims. Some Sufi mystics pictured the Karen as a devil residing in the blood and hearts of humans. It is more popular in some countries than others. For example, it is more popular in Egypt than Sudan. In Joseph Wright's English Dialect Dictionary, it was listed as a North Country term and as obsolete. The time has come to unravel the secrets behind John Donne and gain a deeper understanding. Isaac Walton claimed that John Donne, the English metaphysical poet, saw his wife's doppelganger in 1612 in Paris, on the same night as the stillbirth of their daughter. This account first appears in the edition of Life of Dr. Rizwan Rising published in 1675, and is attributed to a person of honour, told with such circumstances and such asseveration that, I verily believe he that told it to me, did himself believe it to be true. R. Celsius. Bald and R. East. Bennett questioned the veracity of Walton's account. The time has come to unravel the secrets behind Percy Bysshe Shelley and gain a deeper understanding. On July 8, 1822, the English poet Percy Bysshe Shelley drowned in the Bay of Spezia near Larissy in Italy. On August 15, while staying at Pisa, Percy's wife Mary Shelley, an author and editor, wrote a letter to Maria Gisborne in which she relayed Percy's claims to her that he had met his own doppelganger. A week after Mary's nearly fatal miscarriage, in the early hours of June 23, Percy had had a nightmare about the house collapsing in a flood, and also Percy Shelley's drama Prometheus Unbound 1820 contains the following passage in Act I. Babylon was dust. The Magus Zoroaster, my dead child, met his own image walking in the garden. That apparition, soul of men, he saw. For know there are two worlds of life and death, one that which thou beholdest, but the other is underneath the grave, where do inhabit the shadows of all forms that think and live till death unite them and they part no more. Let's transition to Johann Wolfgang von Goethe and uncover its significance. Near the end of Book XI of his autobiography, Dichtung und Wahrheit, Poetry and Truth, Goethe wrote, almost in passing, amid all this pressure and confusion I could not forego seeing Frederica once more. Those were painful days, the memory of which has not remained with me. When I reached her my hand from my horse, the tears stood in her eyes, and I felt very uneasy. I now rode along the footpath toward Drusenheim, and here one of the most singular forebodings took possession of me. I saw, not with the eyes of the body, but with those of the mind, my own figure coming toward me, on horseback, and on the same road, attired in a dress which I had never worn. It was pike grey, with somewhat of gold. As soon as I shook myself out of this dream, the figure had entirely disappeared. It is strange, however, that, 8 years afterward, I found myself on the very road to pay one more visit to Frederica, in the dress of which I had dreamed, and which I wore, not from choice, but by accident. However, it may be with matters of this kind generally, this strange illusion in some measure calmed me at the moment of parting. The pain of quitting for ever noble Alsace, with all I had gained in it, was softened, and, having at last escaped the excitement of a farewell, I, on a peaceful and quiet journey, pretty well regained my self-possession. This is an example of a doppelganger which was perceived by the observer to be both benign and reassuring. Let's transition to Émilie Sag and uncover its significance. Émilie Sag, a French teacher working in 1845 in a boarding school in what is now Latvia, was alleged to have a doppelganger. The story is reported by Robert Dale Owen. Let's now shift gears and explore George Tryon through a critical lens, uncovering its strengths and weaknesses. A Victorian age example was the supposed appearance of Vice Admiral Sir George Tryon. He was said to have walked through the drawing room of his family home in Eaton Square, London, looking straight ahead, without exchanging a word to anyone, in front of several guests at a party being given by his wife on 22 June 1893 while he was supposed to be in a ship of the Mediterranean Squadron, manoeuvring off the coast of Syria. Subsequently, it was reported that he had gone down with his ship, HMS Victoria, the very same night, after it collided with HMS Camperdown following an unexplained and bizarre order to turn the ship in the direction of the other vessel. Welcome to the next segment, where we explore King Umberto I of Italy and its significance in our journey. A popular story about King Umberto I of Italy tells of the king eating in a restaurant and discovering the owner was his dead ring-a-double. The story goes that upon talking to the man, Umberto learned of a string of coincidences between their lives, such as the two men had been born in the same town on the same day, and had both married a woman with the same name, and the restaurant had opened on the day of Umberto's coronation. Umberto's assassination in 1900 is said to have happened the same day that he heard the news that the restaurateur had died in a shooting. This story is cited often in popular culture, Ripley's Believe It or Not. The Big Book of the Unexplained and may have been embellished somewhat. In this section, we'll be shedding light on twin strangers and its impact on our understanding of the subject. With the advent of social media, there have been several reported cases of people finding their twin stranger online, a modern term for a doppelganger. There are several websites where users can upload a photo of themselves and facial recognition software attempts to match them with another user of like appearance. Some of these sites report that they have found numerous living doppelgangers. In this section, we'll be shedding light on literature and its impact on our understanding of the subject. Lord Byron uses doppelganger imagery to explore the duality of human nature. In The Devil's Elixir 1815, a man murders the brother and stepmother of his beloved princess, finds his doppelganger has been sentenced to death for these crimes in his stead, and liberates him, only to have the doppelganger murder the object of his affection. This was one of Ernst Tunstber Hoffmann's early novels. In addition to describing the doppelganger double as a counterpart to the self, Percy Bysshe Shelley's drama Prometheus Unbound 1820 makes reference to Zoroaster meeting his own image walking in the garden. In William Wilson by Edgar Allan Poe, the main character is followed by a doppelganger for his whole life, who troubles him and causes mischief. Eventually the main character kills his doppelganger, and realizes that the doppelganger was only mirroring him. It was first published in 1839, but was also published in 1840 in Tales of the Grotesque and Arabesque. Fyodor Dostoevsky's novel The Double 1846 presents the doppelganger as an opposite personality who exploits the character failings of the protagonist to take over his life. Charles Williams's Descent into Hell 1939 has character Pauline Anstruther seeing her own doppelganger all through her life. Clive Barker's story Human Remains in his books of blood is a doppelganger tale, and the doppelganger motif is a staple of Gothic fiction. In Charles Dickens' novel A Tale of Two Cities 1859, Charles Darnay and Sydney Carton resemble one another to the point of being indistinguishable to the casual observer. At the start of the novel, this results in Darnay's acquittal after an eyewitness couldn't tell the two apart at trial. At the novel's climax, the resemblance allows Carton to substitute himself in place of Darnay for execution. Vladimir Nabokov's novel Despair 1936 involves the narrator and protagonist of the story, Herman Karlovich, an owner of a chocolate factory, who meets a homeless man in the city of Prague, who he believes is his doppelganger. Jorge Luis Borges The Other 1972 has the author himself find that he's sitting on a bench with his older doppelganger, and the two have a conversation. In Bret Easton Ellis's novel, Glamourman 1998, protagonist actor Middle Victor Ward ostensibly has a doppelganger that people mistake for Ward, often claiming to have seen him at parties and events Ward has no recollection of attending. At one point in the novel, Victor heads to Europe, but reports of him attending events in the States appear in newspaper headlines. Victor's doppelganger may have been placed by Victor's father, a United States senator looking to present a more intelligent and sophisticated replacement for his son that would improve his own image and boost his poll numbers for future elections. While the novel is narrated by Victor, various chapters are ambiguous, leading the reader to wonder if certain chapters are being narrated by the doppelganger instead. In Tana French's 2008 novel, The Likeness, Detective Cassie Maddox has doppelganger Lexi Madison, who adopts the same alias Maddox used in an undercover investigation. In Stephen King's book The Outsider 2018, the antagonist is able to use the DNA of individuals to become their near-perfect match through a science-fictional ability to transform physically. The allusion to it being a doppelganger is made by the group trying to stop it from killing again. The group also discusses other examples of fictional doppelgangers that supposedly occurred throughout history to provide some context. Now, it's time to shift gears and explore film. In Das Miracle and The Miracle, both 1912, the Virgin Mary as doppelgangerin takes the place of a nun who has run away from her convent in search of love and adventure. Both based on the 1911 play The Miracle by Karl Vormler. The Student of Prague 1913 is a German silent film where a diabolical character steals the reflection of a young student out of his mirror, leading it to return later and terrorize him. Animated Jack King creates a doppelganger for Donald Duck in Donald's Double Trouble 1946, where the twofold fowl speaks perfectly intelligible English and is well-mannered. The 1969 film Doppelganger involves a journey to the far side of the sun, where their astronaut finds a counter-Earth, a mirror image of home. He surmises his counterpart is at that moment on his Earth in the same predicament. Joseph Losey's 1976 film Mr. Klein stars Alain Delon as an art dealer in Nazi-occupied Paris who receives a Jewish newspaper addressed to him. When the police suspect him as a member of the resistance, he begins a relentless pursuit of his supposed doppelganger. English actor Roger Moore plays a man haunted by a doppelganger who springs to life following a near-death experience. In Basil Dearden's The Man Who Haunted Himself 1970. In the Soviet crime comedy film Gentlemen of Fortune 1971, Evgeny Trofim Yevgeny Lenov, a kind kindergarten teacher who has the same appearance as the wanted criminal known as Docent, is sent on a mission to help Militia find an ancient golden helmet that Docent has hidden. The 1972 Robert Altman film Images has a doppelganger for the hallucinating character played by Susanna York. The 1991 French-Polish film La Double Vie de Véronique Polish, Podwine Icy Waniki, directed by Krzysztof Kiełowski and starring Ian Jacob, explores the mysterious connection between two women, both played by Jacob, who share an intense emotional connection in spite of never having met one another. Doppelgangers are a major theme and plot element in the 2006 film The Prestige, directed by Christopher Nolan and starring Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. The illusionists Robert Angier Jackman and Alfred Borden Bale compete with each other to perfect a magic trick in which the performer appears to transport across the stage instantaneously. Angier initially performs the trick with a lookalike also portrayed by Jackman, but later uses a machine that allows him to create an unlimited number of clones of himself. In the final scene, it is revealed that Borden had also been using a doppelganger to perform the trick. The character Borden was actually two identical-looking men who took turns living out Borden's public life in order to create the illusion that they were a single man. In the 2007 children's film Bratz Kids Sleepover Adventure, one of the stories involves Sasha being tormented and replaced by a doppelganger she finds in a house of mirrors. In the 2008 psychological horror film Lake Mungo, the film's climax contains a scene in which a young teenager, named Alice, is attacked by her disfigured doppelganger, meant as a premonition of her soon-to-be death. In Richard Ayoade's The Double 2013, based on Fyodor Dostoevsky's novel of the same name, a man is troubled by a doppelganger who is employed at his place of work and affects his personal and professional life. Denis Villeneuve's Enemy 2013 tells the story of a troubled history professor who, while watching a film, discovers an actor who is physically identical to himself. The two men's lives begin to intertwine and blur the boundaries of individual identity. Estranged couple Ethan and Sophie find doubles of themselves trapped in the retreat house their marriage counselor recommended in Charlie McDowell's The One I Love 2014. The 2018 science fiction film Annihilation features a doppelganger in the climax. Jordan Peele's horror film Us 2019 finds the Wilson family attacked by doubles of themselves known as the Tethered. Now, let's dig deeper into television and unveil the hidden treasures it holds within. In the episode Mirror Image of the first series of The Twilight Zone, originally aired February 25, 1960, a young woman repeatedly sees her double in a New York bus terminal. After she is taken off to an asylum, the episode ends with a second character trying to catch his double. The plot of the Firefall episode of Kolchak, The Night Stalker, originally aired November 8, 1974, revolves around the spirit of a deceased arsonist that becomes the doppelganger of a renowned orchestra conductor. He starts killing off people close to the conductor by spontaneous human combustion, with the ultimate goal of taking over the conductor's body. The Hammer House of Horror episode The Two Faces of Evil, originally aired November 29, 1980, focuses on the part of the doppelganger mythology where meeting yours is a harbinger of your imminent death. In the Season 2 finale of Twin Peaks Beyond Life and Death, originally aired June 10, 1991, Special Agent Dale Cooper encounters a variety of doppelgangers in the Black Lodge, one of whom is a malevolent version of himself. Cooper's doppelganger switches places with him at the conclusion of the episode, trapping the original in the Black Lodge. A total of 3 different doppelgangers are dispatched from the mysterious Black Lodge to bedevil the forces of good in Showtime's 2017 series Twin Peaks: The Return. In the episode Miami Twice of the sitcom Only Fools and Horses, originally aired Deck 25, 1991, protagonists Del Boy and Rodney Trotter come into conflict with the family of mafia boss Don Vincenzo Occhetti, who is a doppelganger for Del Boy. Occhetti's family plot to have Del assassinated in public view to fake the death of Occhetti so that he will escape his coming murder trial, though Del and Rodney see through the ruse and eventually provide the authorities with evidence to have Occhetti proven guilty and sent to prison. In Buffy the Vampire Slayer's Season 3 episode Doppelgänger, originally aired February 23, 1999, Willow encounters her vampire double who was first introduced 7 episodes prior in the Wish deck. 8, 1998. In the 5th season episode The Replacement Orc. 10, 2000, Xander discovers his own doppelganger portrayed by the actor's identical twin brother. In the 8th season episode Mr. Monk is Someone Else of Monk, originally aired August 28, 2009, the titular detective is recruited to impersonate a dead mob hitman who was his double. In the sitcom How I Met Your Mother, throughout the 5th and 6th seasons aired, the 5 main characters each encounter an identical stranger of themselves. By the episode Double Date, they have spotted Marshall's doppelganger, who they nickname Mustache Marshall, and Robin's lesbian Robin. In the same episode they find Lily's doppelganger, a Russian stripper named Jasmine. Later, in the episode Robots vs. Wrestlers, the gang finds Ted's double, a Mexican wrestler, but Ted himself is not there to witness it. In Doppelgangers, Lily and Marshall decide that as soon as they find Barney's doppelganger, it will be a sign from the universe for them to start trying to have children. Lily spots a pretzel vendor whom she thinks looks like Barney, but in reality looks nothing like him. Marshall takes this mistake as Lily subconsciously affirming her desire for motherhood, and they decide to start trying for a baby. They meet Barney's real doppelganger Dr. John Stengel in the episode Bad News, though they initially believe him to be Barney in disguise. In the CW supernatural drama series, The Vampire Diaries aired, actress Nina Dobrev portrayed the roles of several doppelgangers: Omara the first doppelganger, Tasha the second, Katerina Petrovotsk, Pierce the third, and Eleanor Gilbert the fourth. The series mainly focused on the doppelgangers of the sweet and genuine Eleanor and the malevolent Catherine. In the same series, Paul Wesley portrays Stefan Salvatore and his doppelgangers Tom Avery and Silas. Starting with the 2nd season of The Flash, doppelgangers play a key role in the development of the series. Doubles from various Earths in the multiverse are defined as such. The person with multiple counterparts who appeared in the series was Harrison Wells. The 3rd episode of the 4th season of Elementary, an American procedural drama television series that presents a contemporary update of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's character Sherlock Holmes, has a focus on the doppelganger phenomenon. In the episode Tag Your Me, originally aired November 19, 2015, the victims of Sherlock Holmes's latest case found each other via a doppelganger finding website. One of the victims, and the culprit of another case investigated in the same episode, had searched for their twin strangers in order to dodge a DNA test for a crime they had committed years before. In this segment, we'll be unraveling the complexities of music videos and exploring its multifaceted nature. The theme of doppelganger has been frequently used in music videos, such as Aqua's Turn Back Time 1998, Dido's Hunter 2001, Madonna's Die Another Day 2002, Kelly Rowland's Commander 2010, and Britney Spears' Hold It Against Me 2011. Now, let's dig deeper into video games and unveil the hidden treasures it holds within. The 1987 Nintendo game Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, features an enemy known as Dark Link, also known as Shadow Link, who serves as the final boss of the game. Dark Link has since made appearances as boss characters in the following titles, and as a cameo appearance in the Super Smash Bros. series. The 1995 video game Alone in the Dark 3 features a nameless enemy that Edward Cornby calls his double, a doppelganger that mirrors the protagonist's moves to stop him from climbing the water tank. He is fused to Cornby after they touch hands. The 1997 Konami game Castlevania Symphony of the Night features an enemy boss known simply as Doppelganger, a duplicate of the main protagonist Alucard. The enemy mimics the movement and attack patterns of the player. The 1998 computer role-playing game Baldur's Gate employs doppelgangers as a plot device, and as a type of enemy monster that antagonize the player's party of characters, as do both of the game's major sequels. The game series uses Dungeons and Dragons mechanics, in which the existence of doppelgangers as evil magical creatures is a feature. The 2002 MMORPG Ragnarok Online features a boss-type monster named Doppelganger, a demon who summons nightmares that looks like a shadow of the default appearance for the male swordsman class. The 2002 video game Super Mario Sunshine features a doppelganger named Shadow Mario, also known as, in the instruction manual, an evil clone of Mario who ruined all of Isle Delfino, forcing Mario to cleaning the entire island. Shadow Mario appears in all of 7 levels of each world, thought he makes a cameo in the first level of Bianco Hills. The 2005 Capcom game Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening also features an enemy boss known as Doppelganger that is fought near the end of the game. Resembling Dante's Devil Trigger form, it also mimics several of Dante's moves. Upon defeating the demon boss, Dante acquires a style referred to as the Doppelganger style that allows him to create a shadow copy of himself to assist him in battle in exchange for consuming Dante's Devil Trigger gauge. The 2007 video game Super Mario Galaxy features a doppelganger named Cosmic Mario, where he appears in Honeyhive Galaxy, Freezeflum Galaxy, Goldleaf Galaxy, and Seaside Galaxy under the effect of the Cosmic Clone Comet effect, and challenges Mario to a race. The 2008 video game Tomb Raider Underworld features a character known as the Doppelganger. She is a clone of protagonist Lara Croft, created by antagonist Jacqueline Natler to buy us a retinal scanner in the security system of Croft's mansion. The Doppelganger burns down the mansion and becomes a major antagonist and boss in the game. In a 2009 DLC expansion pack called Lara's Shadow, Croft takes control of the Doppelganger, and becoming the player character for this level. The 2010 video game Alan Wake and its 2012 sequel Alan Wake's American Nightmare feature the character of Mr. Scratch, a doppelganger of protagonist Alan Wake created as a supernatural manifestation of negative rumors spread about the character after his disappearance at the end of the first game, and who seeks to take over and ruin Wake's life. The 2010 and 2011 videogames Super Mario Galaxy 2 and Super Mario Land features Cosmic Mario clones that chases Mario through some levels. The 2015 Konami game Metal Gear Solid V, The Phantom Pain Pot revolves around the story of punished Venom Snake who has been chosen as a decoy to replicate and take on the persona of the legendary soldier Big Boss. He is referred to as Big Boss's doppelganger going forward. Venom Snake was originally a combat medic who worked closely with Big Boss before being selected to be physically altered via plastic surgery to become Big Boss's doppelganger stand-in and also brainwashed to believe himself to actually be Big Boss. The 2015 and 2017 Two-How games Urban Legend in Limbo and Antinomy of Common Flowers feature the character of Sumiriko Asami, whose legendary attack is labeled as Doppelganger. Let's now turn our attention to scientific applications and examine its role within the larger context. Research has found that people who are true lookalikes have more similar genes than people who do not look like each other. They share genes affecting not only the face but also some phenotypes of physique and behavior, also indicating that their differences in the epigenome and microbiome contribute only modestly to human variability in facial appearance. Heteroscopy is a term used in psychiatry and neurology for the hallucination of seeing one's own body at a distance. It can occur as a symptom in schizophrenia and epilepsy, and is considered a possible explanation for doppelganger phenomena. Criminologists find a practical application in the concepts of facial familiarity and similarity due to the instances of wrongful convictions based on eyewitness testimony. In one case, A person spent 17 years behind bars persistently denying any involvement with the crime of which he was accused. He was finally released after someone was found who shared a striking resemblance and the same first name. In 1914, Otto Rank began to study the concept of the doppelganger and its potential in psychoanalysis. Later, in 1919, Sigmund Freud would expand on the psychoanalytical value of doppelgangers in his work The Uncanny. Freud explains that the doppelganger, or the double, is an idea rooted in the narcissism of children and is found in mirrors, guardian spirits, souls, and the thoughts of terror associated with death. The double begins as a comforting symbol of immortality, but it soon ends as a bringer of death. The doppelganger is also a manifestation of repressed thoughts related to the psychoanalytical concept of negation. The negation involved with the appearance of the doppelganger is used as a tool to map out an individual's ego. I love interacting with my viewers, so leave me a comment and I'll do my best to respond.